Kristen, Kyle, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having us. Come on.
Just wrapping up our trip, 3 days. And the big takeaway here is I never travel any place just to see one person. So when you sales guys are out there traveling, you need to then try and find 1 or 2 or 3 other people to see.
The commodity manager of Electrolux wanted me to text her. That was her preferred method of contact. She was getting 200 emails a day. She said, just text me. This was 5 years ago. I'm like, okay. Literally could get her every time.
What's up, guys? Kyle Milan here with Manufacturing Tribe TV. Today we're at MD&M Minneapolis show.
You're always going to remember that person that was different than everybody else. So it's taught standing out and being unique.
We're back with another episode. We've increased some of our production value, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. Brett's got a question. How segmented do you make the emails every 2 to 4 weeks? Are you sending to the broad group of contacts or do you customize? I think that you could do it both ways, but I think in general, everybody needs to see your content. Everybody needs to see something that you're creating and something that you can provide value to.
You can tell a story a whole lot faster in a 3-minute video than you can in a 14-page article or 10 2-page articles.
Everything's about brand awareness and content right now, and it will continue to be that. So focus on producing some sort of content, and if you're selling B2B, which I'm assuming most people here are, focus on LinkedIn.
Number one, we do not charge for this stuff. I put all of my content out there for free. Send it to somebody that you feel may get some value out of it, and also engage. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. We'll get to all of the comments after the break. Those comments mean the world to us because it shows that you guys care. So don't just sit there and watch, but please engage and hit those thumbs on LinkedIn. What is up, guys? I'm Kyle Milan, and we are back with Monday's show, which is Q&A, where you guys send in the questions. I give the answers. You can send in all your questions to askkyle at mfgtribe.com. I know that we are successfully streaming on YouTube. LinkedIn seems to be a little bit buggy. So if you guys are on LinkedIn and viewing this, leave me a comment in the comment section to make sure that you're able to get it, because it seemed a little bit buggy during that intro. So we'll get right into it. As always, guys, the rules: if you guys get value out of this content, please share it with somebody that you know. Our schedule setup is Mondays or Q&A. Wednesdays, we talk about technical sales and industrial marketing. Questions, send them over to askkyle at mfgtribe.com, and we will be answering questions live, especially from LinkedIn, as long as LinkedIn's glitches get fixed ASAP. So let's get into the first question that we had come in. And I will be posting it because Nick is actually traveling right now at a client. So the first question coming in from Jonathan W. I want to start creating videos and articles for my manufacturing company, but don't know where to start. That's a great question. That's a question we get a lot, is people are like, dude, I know I want to do all this. And we do have Karen, our director of PM, saying she's on LinkedIn. It seems to be working. All right, good to go. So going back to the question, This is a question that we get a lot, is like, you know that you need to do something, but you don't know where to start. You get that creative writer's block. You're just like, I don't know if I should make a video about the capability. Should I go right into that? Should I do a backstory? Even if you're working with somebody like a production company or from an article standpoint, what should I talk about first? So with content, we break it into 2 categories. So either it has to make Google happy, and it's a searched phrase that has some sort of frequency behind it. So you're looking at focusing on SEO, and you're focusing on positions and something you could put on your website that could draw new strategic traffic to the website. Or on the flip side of it, it has to provide some sort of value. Now, in both cases, the ideal situation is that you want it to be both, right? You want to be able to provide value to something that a group of people are regularly searching. However, it doesn't always work like that. And so what you have to keep in mind is, like, you guys in industrial manufacturing, you have so much knowledge. It's an insane amount of knowledge that you have between your ears that you take advantage of, that you think nobody's going to want to know that, or like, what could I really say? But if you sit there and break down everything that you know, everything that your company does, or you as a personal brand, everything that you know, experiences that you've had, lessons that you've learned, ways that you're doing things, case studies of problems you've solved, and just really sit there and think and spend like, I don't know, 30 minutes thinking about all those things and just jot down themes or jot down topics. You will have an insane amount of content. Like, don't take for granted what you know. You think that other people wouldn't get value out of it. You think that other people wouldn't already have the solution to those problems, but most of the time they don't. Most of the time they're having the issue that you solve for this customer. They have that same problem and they don't know the solution to it. And so you have to sit there and think about all of your experiences, start jotting them down on paper, and then once you can come up with some sort of general topic list, then you can go into a place like SEMrush or somebody like that and search, an SEO based website to see, all right, if somebody types in this phrase, how many people are actually searching for that a month in the United States, Canada, overseas, wherever it is that you're from. You can select all that stuff. And so we've got a partner level with SEMrush because we use them for our agency side at MFG Tribe for all of our topic research and all that stuff and audits and reports and stuff like that. We use SEMrush. Now, on an individual level, I'm sure there's something you can get into for free or pretty cheap a month, maybe even like $99 a month at a company level to be able to say, I want to do this topic research. I want volume behind these search phrases. So it has to come from somewhere. You have to have some sort of plan to say, these are the search phrases that I want to go after. And I'm going to prioritize as I create this content based on the volume behind how much people are searching in your specific geographic region. But it's like the biggest thing to overcome. And all I'll say is like, just start making something. It does not have to be perfect. It does not have to have 10 hours of research. People typically will use that as an excuse by saying things like, hey, I really want to do this, but I can't do it because I don't know the topics and I need to do that next week. And then next week comes and you didn't spend the time to do it. And it just keeps getting pushed out further and further and further. You could go so basic with a video from your phone and just shoot it raw and just to show people things. It's ridiculous. And that will provide value because people like to see the behind the scenes thing of it. It doesn't have to be as organized and as fancy with equipment and commercial breaks and things like that. Kind of like what we're doing here. It does not have to be like that, but you just have to start somewhere. And it could be a simple article. Articles typically need to be more than 800 words. So I would say in the 800 to 1500 word category for a good article to rank high up on Google for a search phrase in your industrial manufacturing industry that is somewhat competitive. You really need to be in that 800 to 1500 words. But what if you're like, I can't think of 800 words and I don't have an agency like MFG Tribe that's going to do all this for me. So what do? Just write 300 words, write 400 words and just put them up on the website and put it as a blog and then share it out on social or just put it in a long form post on social on your company page or do it on your personal profile. But that's really like the whole how do I start thing. It's just start, just do it. And that's what we've always done. When we started creating content 3 years ago, it was like, oh, I don't have the right camera. I mean, I went through it too, and I did a bunch of excuses. I need the right camera. I need the right equipment. I need lighting. I need a backdrop, all that stuff. But then at the end of the day, it was like, just create something, throw it out there. And once you get people to respond to that and engage on it, then it gives you the momentum and the validity that you need to be like, yes, I'm producing something of value. Now I'm going to keep doing it. So hopefully that answers Jonathan's question. We're going to go through two more. We typically do 3 questions, and then we will get into the comments coming through YouTube, LinkedIn, and whatnot. Let me throw up this next question we got. So from Amy J, we're going through the process of hiring more sales engineers. What do you think is more important, experience or attitude and drive? For those of you that know me, probably know the answer to this question. For those of you that don't, would think that I would go with experience, but I would not. And here's why. Is it good to have somebody with a lot of experience in sales? Yes, that is a great situation to be in. But a lot of times the issue is they're set in their ways. So it's like, does this person have experience and is willing to change? Are they on the cutting edge of what works now? Are they focusing on the channels that work now? Or are they like, dude, I've been doing this for 20 years. I'm a veteran. I know what I'm doing. I grew my last companies. I did it this way. This is what works. I don't need to look at anything else. If the experience comes with that type of mindset, I do not want that person. If the person has some level of technical aptitude, I will take somebody with a good attitude and drive, because that is typically not something that you can train somebody to have, right? Either you have a good attitude and drive or you don't. Either you are a hustler and want to work, and get the job done and increase the company revenue and increase your personal level of revenue and really go for it, or you don't. There really isn't a in between. And so I'll take that person with a great drive, great attitude, with a foundational technical knowledge. They don't have to know what it is. If I own a manufacturing company, they don't have to know the ins and outs of everything that is what we do to be able to answer every single question in a presentation with a potential customer, because I have a team of engineers that can support that person. I will take that person and train and develop them into a sales killer because they have the good attitude and drive. So a lot of times industrial companies are like, I need a veteran, or because I want somebody that's going to come in with a book of business. They already have contacts, and they're going to come in and they're going to blow up my pipeline. That typically doesn't happen. Even if they are a veteran, they may know people that are potentially low-hanging fruit. They may have had previous relationships at other companies, but if a salesperson comes in that's experienced and says, I will bring this business with you or with me, then they're completely mistaken, because usually that doesn't happen. Don't beat me up in the comments now when this video gets published live and say, yeah, but I've done it for 20 years, whatever it happens. It usually doesn't happen. So I will take the person with attitude and drive that is a fit for the culture over somebody with experience, because they're more teachable and trainable with that. All right, last question before we get into the comments that are in the live. Let me show it up there. So from Catherine B, I feel like posting to my company LinkedIn page 5 times per week is too much. Are you sure about that strategy? That's a good question. And yes, I am sure about that strategy. How am I sure about that strategy? Well, at MFG Tribe, we are an industrial marketing agency, and this is one of the main tactics that we use to increase companies' brand awareness and revenue is posting LinkedIn. But why do we do it? In other videos, I've explained it, and I'll answer it again here. So because in industrial manufacturing, timing is everything with sales, right? You can call somebody today, they say no. You call somebody tomorrow, they say yes. Things change, happen all the time. It's all about being in the right place at the right time. It's all about being relevant to solve the problem that they have. And these problems come up all the time for these guys. The reason why you need to post to LinkedIn 5 times a week is that you do not know when that person is going to log into LinkedIn, how much time they're going to spend on LinkedIn. Are they going to scroll through their feed really far down to it, or are they just on there to respond to a message and off? So you have to be as loud as possible every single day. So if you post a piece of content today, Monday, and then you don't post another one until, let's say you go to 3 times a week, you don't post another one until Wednesday. Let's say that that potential customer comes on LinkedIn on Tuesday and you didn't post anything on Tuesday, and they've got 600 connections and they're scrolling through their feed, and everything that's been posted that morning that has some level of engagement is showing at the top of their feed. And they keep scrolling through, and then they stop and they get off LinkedIn. Let's say they've been on for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that, but they didn't get to your post from yesterday. Now, your post from yesterday had some engagement, it had some likes, but there's been posts this morning on Tuesday that like trump that from an algorithm standpoint, because it's relevant and it's new and it has more engagement. So they don't see that post. Then you post something on Wednesday. Let's say that person doesn't come back until Thursday. You don't know. So since you don't know, you have to post every single day. Get as much engagement as possible as soon as it's posted. Get your employees to like and share that stuff to beat the algorithm, to get the algorithm to say, this is good content coming from this company page. I want to then share it with other people that follow the company page. And at a personal level, it's going to be shared with the connections of that person that's sharing it or engaging on it. So if the company page posts something, I like it, it then gets shared to a small percentage of my connections. If my connections see it and they like it, then the algorithm says, this is good content from Kyle. I'm going to share it with more of his connections. And it just beefs up from there. It's not as simple as saying, when I post it, everybody sees it right then and there. So you have to post 5 days per week to make sure that you're staying relevant, staying on top of the algorithm, staying on top of the competition that's out there, that's posting every day, every other day, multiple people. There's tens of thousands of people that are posting on LinkedIn. You don't know what that prospect is going to see. So you have to make sure at least give yourself the advantage and the edge at all possible by posting every single day. So hoping that when they do come and log on, they're closer, your post is closer to the top of the feed versus it being very buried at the bottom. So that is my answer to that question. Let's look at the comments. Matson says, working well. Thank you, Matson. Manson says they're an advertising agency via PPC using video landing page SEO, press releases, old staples like Modern Machine Shop. Where do you see the next space for marketing in the manufacturing sector? Mattson, I think that the next space for the manufacturing sector is the current space, which is LinkedIn, which I don't know if you guys focus on that. You're doing LinkedIn ads, but I'd say organic LinkedIn is right now what you should be focusing on, and doing live events. Video is killing it for manufacturing companies right now, and it will continue to kill it. But it's the type of video, right? So like creating a video without native stock content, like content that you guys shot. It's just content that you got through Adobe Stock or places like that. And it's just royalty free content that isn't specific to that company. You're just using it as filler content with text on it. That doesn't work as well. Getting interviews with the people. Same thing that we do at our agency is interviewing the people at the company, getting raw content, doing case studies, traveling on site, getting all the B-roll footage, and then producing an insane amount of video content from that is what works right now. And I think that taking it a step further, what we're seeing is working is doing these live events on LinkedIn, because you're able to bring people in to ask questions real time live, as long as the manufacturing company is open to it and they have a person that can field all those questions and answer them as direct as possible. That's where I see manufacturing going even further. I feel like the traditional ways, they're always going to be there, right? Like print magazines, stuff like that. I think that stuff's dead. I would never advise anybody to spend $1 on print magazine, because you can't quantify how many people are reading it. The magazine company will say, we've got 60,000 people that read it. You don't know that. They may send out 60,000 copies. You don't know who's reading it, what they're reading, how far into it. Did they see your customers' ads? That whole thing to me is a complete waste of time and money, unless it's something like you can say, I was on the cover of Forbes, or I was on the cover of this magazine. Then you can talk to it. But pushing it out there and being like, I'm going to spend money to write articles or do advertising in these magazine places is, in my opinion, a complete waste of money. And all the magazine people in industrial will say, no, it's not. But it is what it is. Agree to disagree. But I think everything going online, live videos, behind the scenes, that's really where manufacturing needs to pick up, because keep in mind, manufacturing and industrial companies are typically 3 to 5 years behind the rest of the market when it comes to adapting to new digital technology with marketing and new marketing efforts, and even platforms like LinkedIn and doing LinkedIn lives. It's nobody has ever come to us and said, yeah, we're doing it. We're currently doing it, and we want you to do it for us. It's always us explaining the value behind why they should do it, showing them case studies of how it's been done for other companies and why they should focus on it, and then giving them and delivering that value. And then they see, this is killer, so I want to keep doing it. LinkedIn user, let's see who this is. Another question. Sometimes LinkedIn doesn't pull through our live system. So I've been having a hard time adding something different than my competition. We make screws and barrels, and non-return valves for plastic injection molding machines. Love it and know it well. We are considered aftermarket, and while we have stellar performance, everyone else claims they do as well. Kind of stuck. We don't manufacture everything ourselves, and I don't want to pretend that we do either. That is a predicament. I know screws and barrels and aftermarket equipment well from my injection molding days. So what I would say is, the first question I would say is, your competition, are they making regular video and written content consistently every single week? Most likely they're not. Now, if you're dealing with competition like the big boys, the multi-billion-dollar year companies, they may be creating the content, but how is the content? And what can you do to bring your company's spin on that content? How can you do it differently? Are they going more corporate-y with their videos and more fluffy, and you could be more edgy because maybe you're more nimble company and you can move quicker and you have more control over not being so polished? Do behind the scenes stuff. That's what you have to focus on. Like, even if you're like, hey, they're going to trade shows, we go to trade shows. They write articles, we write articles. They make videos, we make videos. It's really the devil's in the details. Like, they make videos, but how? Like, what do they look like? Can you make your videos better? Are they doing LinkedIn lives? Are they doing YouTube lives if you have access to that? Are they engaging with companies, answering questions? Are they giving presentations the way that you could by doing it through a live event and then getting feedback from people? That's really how you're going to stand out. Don't just think that like everybody in, let's say in industrial, if everybody in industrial was making videos, writing articles, creating content and all that stuff, it's not like you don't have to be the first mover, right? It's not like the whole first mover advantage. You don't have to be first, you just have to be best. And not best at producing it, but you have to be best at grabbing attention. And so if they're doing videos, you can do them better. If they're writing articles, you can probably write them better or more frequently, or deliver them to your clients or potential clients better. But that's the way you have to think outside of the box of like, yeah, they already got all this video content, but I'm going to dominate them because I'm going to be doing shorter, longer, more text on screen, interviews, behind the scenes, doing it live. I'm going to produce 6 videos a week, 5 videos a week, whereas they're doing 1 a month. Like, look at it from that standpoint, and that should help you out. And even if you don't manufacture everything yourself, stay legit and 100% honest. You don't have to be like, oh, well, we make it all ourselves. And let's say that competition doesn't. You don't have to go there. You can be honest and still just push your brand. You can say you've partnered with the leaders in that technology that can do hardened screws to push through abrasive resin through the screw in the barrel, and it's not going to degrade that screw, and it's not going to degrade that barrel. Or if somebody's already got like it's like those heater bands that go around the barrels that are using radiant heat, like Millicron has some, a bunch of people have some. Just because somebody already did it doesn't mean you can't do it, make it better, and market it better, and go to market faster with it, and be more nimble and adjust based on what works. So just because somebody did it doesn't mean that you can't do it better or more consistently or frequently. Hopefully that answers your question. If it doesn't, then send a follow-up. Pat says, great and exact things to consider in B2B manufacturing. Thank you. Thank you, Pat. I appreciate it. Pat's got a follow-up question. What's the best funnel and things to keep in mind for directly reach to decision makers in B2B through LinkedIn and other ways? What's the best funnel? The best funnel and the only funnel right now that has worked and will continue to work, it's worked for the last 2 years, is provide value first. That is the strategy. That is the funnel. It is so simple. If I can provide value to you a few times before I ask you for anything from you, people are more likely to be more receptive to that ask. So it all goes back to the basic principles of Gary Vaynerchuk in his jab, 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 right hook video, which is you want to give value first before you ask for anything in return. That works every single time. Now, there are people that you can go direct with and not provide value first, but typically those partners that you would create in those relationships are not going to be the best because they're just hunting and shopping for a solution, and they don't really care where they get it from. So going after those companies that are harder to convince are going to develop typically in longer partnerships. So I would say providing value first, specifically on LinkedIn, it would be you want to connect with people, send them content that's valuable before you ask for anything in return. You want to then just keep everything simple, straight to the point. That's what's worked. Don't go into long pitches. Don't explain why you guys are better than everybody else in these long paragraphs. Everything is short to the point when it comes to industrial and manufacturing companies. You do not want it to go into a long pitch. You just want to say, here's what we do. Here's how we solve the problem. Couple bullet points. Let me know if you have any questions or if you have a need. It's that simple. That's what works. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 90 seconds to answer any other questions that come through. What if they don't currently have a problem with a process or system? Will the approach still be effective? If they don't have a problem, man, you can't solve it. So if you go into a sales call and you're like, hey, I want to talk to you about X, Y, and Z. Do you guys have any issues with it? They're like, nope. Don't sell the unsellable. Is homepage content the most important? So that brings up a good point. What you need to look at in your Google Analytics is your top landed pages. And the top landed pages are what page do people first see? And we always look at the top 10. And so is homepage usually the first of the top 10 landed on pages? Yes, it is usually, but it typically only represents no more than 50% of the total traffic that lands on that page first. Is only about 50% go to the homepage. 30, 45 minutes a day working on building out your network. And then I would spend 30 to 45 minutes a day engaging with your network. Assuming that you have deals already in the pipeline, current customers, you have meetings during the week, stuff like that, where it's pulling out your time to where you only have a few hours
left over, then that's how I'd split it. Half your time focused on building your network, the other half of the time focused on engaging. All right, guys, we are back wrapping up this Monday Q&A show. Love the engagement that we're getting in the comments, asking us questions live. If you guys think of a question, be sure to shoot it over to askkyle@mfgtribe.com and we can get them pulled up and ready to throw up on the screen. But as always, we answer question live on the show. You guys throw them up there. I give you my candid, honest response, which we appreciate that engagement. It helps us get the message out. All we're trying to do here is I'm trying to provide people with value, provide people with answers to questions, share stories about issues that we see with our clients at MFG Tribe in the industrial area that are struggling with things, or if something works and we see it work, we bring it up on a show, typically on Wednesday's show, where we talk about technical sales, industrial marketing. So if you guys like the value that you're getting out of this, then what I would recommend and what I would ask is, can you share this with somebody that you know, whether it's somebody at your company, a friend, something like that, share it with somebody. Go to the YouTube channel and subscribe to it and turn on notifications. So that way, in case there is a glitch on LinkedIn, if you're coming from LinkedIn and you don't get notified that we went live, you at least have YouTube as a backup. But as always, all of our content lives on YouTube. We've got probably over 250 videos right now. We're producing an insane amount of content. Nobody's got the library that we have that's talking about industrial marketing and technical sales specifically. It's all we do all day, every week is talk about that. So if that's something that you're interested in, then definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. You will be seeing some changes in the future. We just took ownership over a almost 4,000 square foot facility that will be our new office. Our studio is growing in size by about 5 times. We are going to be doing things in the future with having guests on in person, having guests on remotely. Also, don't forget, we have the podcast. So go to the podcast, just search my name in Apple and all the podcast places. It's Technical Sales and Marketing, or just search my name and you will come across it. All this content lives on the podcast as well. So if you want to multitask while you're learning or getting entertained, hopefully, then you can do it on the podcast. Let's see if there's any other questions or comments. Pat had one more question. Associations for supply chain, procurement, and other industry associations are good to reach and connect with B2B manufacturing buyers. Any idea? Oh, that's a question. So are they good? So yes, they can be, but I would be careful about that. So like joining any association to then just sell to people is not going to work. But if you take the first answer I gave you to that question, what works? Providing value first into those associations and groups, which you can find tons of groups on LinkedIn. I'm currently a member of, I don't even know, like 25 groups on LinkedIn. We do post content to LinkedIn, but we never post salesy, hey, check us out, you should buy from us type of stuff, or like, we want you as a customer. We don't do salesy stuff. We only focus on value. So yes, if you guys produce valuable content, you can go and join. Maybe it's an in-person association or a networking type thing. A lot of times they won't be able to add you as a sponsor depending on what you do, because they don't want their people to be sold to every single day. But if you go value first and say, hey, we produce a lot of content that will provide value to you as you're going through the supply chain journey, issues that you have, we provide solutions and value to that with our content, then yes, that tactic can work. We've used it for years, but you got to be really careful to not go in and sell. It's like holding the dogs back. I mean, a lot of times people just want to go in there and sell, and that just does not work, especially to supply chain people. They get pitched to every single day through phone calls, email, LinkedIn, all those places. So you have to focus on, all right, for me to get attention from this guy, I have to do something different. I'm going to shoot a video. We're going to make a video that I know that they have pain points, or at least have had pain points on these topics. I'm going to produce a video that's going to help them with those pain points. And it can't just be, hey, you guys have issues, we have the solution. Here's the issues that you have. Here's how we solve it. It can't be like that. It has to provide value, where you give them thought-provoking ideas, where you can tell them, hey, look into this, or have you ever thought about that? Or here's ways to save money, or here's ways to save efficiency, things like that. They get pitched to all the time. So try and stand out and be different, Pat. I think that's the best way to do it. So guys, we are going to wrap up this show. So as always, you could find me on LinkedIn. You could find me. Oh, Mattson throws in the last one right at the last minute.
That's why we love these shows. Matson says, when distributing video content, what are your favorite avenues? Also, what is your opinion on the more unique landing page, the better? Idea for constant creation, tailoring of pages, because more pages are available to move up in the rankings. So this is a multi-question, a little bit complicated, so I'm going to have to study it for a second. So favorite avenues, let's start with the first one. Favorite avenues for distributing video content is going to be, you need it to host somewhere, right? So put it on YouTube. That could be your hosting platform. Then from there, you need to move it to your website and embed it. From there, you need to move it onto LinkedIn. I've got a video that we shot probably December-ish, November, December, between November and January, where I explain exactly how we do it for our customers. So goes on YouTube, then it goes on their website, then it gets posted to LinkedIn, but then we chop videos down to create native 60-second long videos, upload those natively into LinkedIn, upload those into YouTube Shorts. You could send the links to people. You really want to try and get the content out there as much as possible, but the main focus is going to be YouTube, and then it's going to be website, so that way you get existing traffic coming in and you can show them that content. Then it's going to be LinkedIn on the company page. Then it's going to be through messages, sending to people on LinkedIn. And then the last thing is going to be through email marketing, that valuable content. It has to be valuable, though. It cannot just be a sales pitch for what you guys do. Valuable content to those people through email marketing, but it's just hitting all the areas. But those, whatever I said, 5 areas would be the best avenues to go. The last part of your question, what is your opinion on the more unique landing pages, the better? Idea for constant creation, tailoring of pages, because more pages are available to move up the rankings. So it depends on landing, what you mean by landing pages, right? Everybody has this different opinion of like landing pages. I view landing pages as just a page you land on, not necessarily something that was created with the landing pages app or program, or something that's only focused on an event landing page or a promotion landing page. But I would say in general, you don't want to change the creative too frequently, because you have to have enough data to support the change. So create something simple, to the point. It does not have to be super fancy. It just has to be clean, modern type of look. Make sure that the calls to action on those pages are relevant and clear and simple. Do not have multiple call to actions on a landing page, and just put valuable content up there. Now, on the flip side of that, creating multiple landing pages is better for SEO. I would say that, it depends again on what you call landing pages. More pages on a website does improve SEO because it tells Google that you are an authoritative figure in that space. However, it's really about the quantity or the quality of those pages and the quantity of content on those pages that matters most. So comparing somebody that has a one single page site to somebody that has 5 pages sites, yes, the single page site is not going to rank as high. But if you've got like 15 landing pages, if they're like the traditional way of saying it, where it's just to promote a product or an event, then that does not work. But breaking down the website into specific categories, service categories, product categories, industries, having content-rich content on there is going to be key. Having videos, articles, internal links, all that stuff, and at least at a minimum 500-600 words on those pages. That is the way to tell Google that you are the subject matter expert. That's the only way to push it out there and improve the rankings, as long as your page is optimized for those specific search phrases. Like each page has to have its own on-page SEO for a specific search phrase, that's what you're trying to rank for. You can't just say every page in general, I'm trying to go after this, so every page has the same on-page optimization for that. That does not work at all. You have to be specific. You have to be strategic, using something like SEMrush to audit those pages, using plugins if you're on WordPress to optimize those pages, tracking your rankings, and making sure that you're moving up there on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. That is the way to track it, to make sure it's working. And I hope that answers the question. And Matson just came back and said, "You're the man." Thanks. Thank you, Matson. You are the man. So we're going to wrap up the show. Like I said, guys, as always, find me on YouTube. Check out the podcast, Technical Sales and Marketing with me. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Follow me on LinkedIn. We produce new content every single week, twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays at noon Central Standard Time. You can find us live on LinkedIn and on YouTube. Be sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and we will see you on the next one.